Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Take It or Leave It loaded with traps leaving the canal. And right now I'm going to zoom in on the pilot house and the back of the traps. Gary! How you doing? I'm going to put you on YouTube! That's my friend Gary. And his son runs the Little Hog, which I explained to you in a previous video, but they're father and son, and they have about 4,800 traps between the two of them, and they work from down the canal. And I have done work for Gary, but never worked on his boat. I've worked on several boats, but not the Take It or Leave It or the Little Hog. And that life that they lead is, well, it starts on August 1st with dropping off the traps. However, that's not the entire perspective of lobstering, because the lobster season goes from, well, August 1st they can start dropping off their traps, but then 10 days later is when the traps start getting lobsters in them, because they have to seed the traps by catching shorts and leaving them in the traps for approximately 10 days to 2 weeks before the lobsters start going in the traps. It's a process called seeding, because what happens is the big lobsters won't go in the traps by themselves, but the little lobsters are more curious. So they catch a bunch of little lobsters and separate them into different pots. 1 or 2 in each pot is the best, or more. And then when the big lobsters hear the noise that the little lobsters make, they go in the pots to investigate. After that, then the big lobsters start going in the pots. But the whole process takes 2 or 3 weeks before they start catching a normal load. So they're into September before they're catching a decent day's wages. However, that process runs through Valentine's Day, February 14th, and then the season ends shortly after that, where they start taking the pots out on or about Valentine's Day. So from that point, it's another 2 or 3 weeks that they're bringing their pots into the harbor. Then they have to sort out the pots that are no longer any good, because some pots are a year old and some pots are 5 years old. Some pots are crushed, and they make the decision whether or not they're going to keep the pot, and they throw the bad pots in to a dumpster. When they throw the bad pots into a dumpster, they start or figure out how much wood they're going to need, and then they start building traps in March. And they build their traps in March, April, and May because it's a little cooler. And they stack those pots, put concrete in the bottom of the pots after they're built. They have what is called a trap party, where they'll throw 200 or 300 pots on the ground, and every one of the lobstermen and the deckhands that want to work will come and join the trap party, and the concrete truck will come, and they'll all put, the concrete truck will just keep dumping plops of concrete in the bottom of the traps. And the men are there for 2 reasons. They have to scratch the concrete level and make sure that the pots are filled up at the bottom of the pots. And then at the end of the day, the pots are picked up and stacked, and they do that sometimes 1 day or sometimes 2 or 3 days, depending on how many pots they have. So that's a trap party. I've been to a few of those. You don't get paid for it typically, but you do have a job, or you have a better option at getting a job when the lobster season starts. And all of that takes place from March, April, May, and then from May to August, pretty much everybody is off waiting for the lobster season, repairing the boat, repairing the lines, making new lines, ordering new supplies for whatever, for repairs for the new pots, the pots that are going to get broken on the first week or month, because there's no way of actually telling when the pots are going to need repair, because the wood rots from the inside out often. And here is Rick. No, this isn't Rick. Yes, this is Rick. This is the Morning Star. Rick leaves from the back of Rick. How you doing?
Hi Mike, how you doing?
Very well, thank you. That's the Morning Star. Rick has a day trip in the morning and the afternoon for sailboats, and he leaves from the end of the harbor and brings up to 6 people out to the reef for diving or snorkeling. And Rick used to be an iron worker, of all things, and that is a very hard job. And now I'm going to shut this off. This is Michael Fazio, 2012 lobster season, and I'm going to catch the Michelle from the beginning. Adios, amigos.